when I was getting judged. My stomach used to turn, my vision blurred. I sweated like crazy, and my heart felt like it might pop out of my chest at any moment. I couldn't look at anyone in the eye because, of course, they were accusing me and labeling me as a goner. If you were actually lazy, you wouldn't feel this guilty all the time. Lazy people don't care about their potential. They don't lie awake thinking about what they should be doing. You are not lazy. The main culprit here is the procrastination that you do because you're scared of how others will judge you, be it posting work, depending on others for approval of your own life decisions, speaking up for yourself, voicing your opinions, or it could even be debating to prove the fact that it's actually right. You don't delete Netflix, do you? And yet, you do it with yourself, and now they are cornering you. All of you being stuck is because of a few key reasons, and that is society judging your procrastination as laziness and inconsistency as having no discipline. The fact that this allegation is completely false, and instead the reality is just the opposite of it. Now, let me ask you this. Are you calling yourself lazy because it's safer than admitting the fact that you were scared? Because it exposes your vulnerability. The fact that you are scared to show that side of yours to anyone is actually making things worse for you. How your mind is probably functioning. There's this self-consciousness of yours that is making you think you look foolish or average because of certain reasons. This blocks you from bringing out the true potential of yours to its fullest. When people say, I knew he'd mess up, or I knew shouldn't happen in her, or so mediocre, you know what? It turns out to be true because you're limiting yourself by being too cautious and recognizing what others say about you and accepting the fact. And you mess up in real time when instead you could have drawn out your potential and absolutely would have nailed the results. But because you were spiraling with your self-blame on how you could have done things differently, or how you could have done more, or how you could have avoided the mistake, it actually turns into self-sabotage. Because it's supposedly protecting you from losing face in public, but in reality, it is the reason for your failure. There are a few things that you need to realize, one of which is that you actually are high in potential. Ask yourself this question, and if it is answered with I guess or even the slightest confirmation from your side, my friend, consider that you have that potential in you, for real. But if you make a huge deal out of it in public, things go south, it becomes a double-edged sword for you. So I feel this is something you should keep to yourself, because if you stay quiet, consistent, and work towards your aim, and that automatically gives others a chance to dump things on you. So how do you work with this idea? The most important thing to fix will be getting out of the preparation mode and taking action for real. I'm not emphasizing on the motivation like go do it, what are you waiting for? When you actually have even the slightest of trust in yourself, and not acting on it would be a waste then, and it might also lead to future regrets. Think of it as when you really give it all you could have. Of course, some people still might judge you, but do you think will that really affect you? I don't think so, because you know you couldn't have done any better than that. it might also leave you satisfied, even if something fails. And if it really does, there is no problem. You see, now that you have already played all your cards, you can truly see what part of your might have caused the issue. And next time, you would redo it in a really fabulous way. And this time, it will be success. But for people with true potential, even if they use it fully, they wouldn't have to reach for it in the first place. And it's not a big deal even if you have to. The reason your mind is playing these tricks on you is because you are divided, and a part of you is trying to do its best, and the other hears judgment and says they'll blame you if anything goes down. So slow down. And that is just a social threat, which actually isn't a threat, but you convert it into a survival risk. That's not lazy, it's protection in a way. Since the nervous system treats failure, especially failure, public failure, as a danger. Since you've come this far now, you really need to be cautious, because this is where you might get stuck. As the label had potential, which might just turn into a prison for you, because now you are known for that potential, and there are a lot of expectations of greatness by both others and you yourself. And now you fear that anything might give you an ordinary tag, and so you delay, you push, you overthink, you wait until everything is perfected. And that perfection never comes. You see, you don't fear failing, but you fear you might find out that you are not as exceptional as you've imagined. But this is where you need to compose and think whether it was a you error or a you made up error. And by that, I mean whether it really was a failure to begin with, your failure to begin with, or it happened because of external factors. That shouldn't have mattered in the first place. Here comes the main part. After this, instead of admitting defeat or afraid of failing or being seen or judged, you call yourself lazy, because it's fixable, and it's a really common excuse that everybody tells you can slip away with. But admitting fear makes you look weak, and high achievers hate vulnerability. I know it's easier said than done, but let me assure you that I too was fixated in that judgment loop and fear of being tagged as a loser. And now I don't give a damn. But it wasn't like this from start. Earlier, when I was getting judged, my stomach used to turn, my vision blurred, I sweated like crazy, my heart felt like it might pop out of my chest at any moment. I couldn't look at anyone in the eye because, of course, they were accusing me and labeling me as a goner and obviously judging me. But when I came last to my senses, I learned, I looked back and counted on my fingers and really thought hard about what actually was my fault or shortcoming and what actually wasn't. Turns out there were only a few things that were a me problem. The rest, it was just shoved onto my face by others. Now, instead of giving out motivation like just be confident, do whatever you want to do, what you do is you build self-trust in privacy. And if you do that in private, this avoids that double-edged sword that I mentioned earlier. Do one uncomfortable act that makes you visible. Share an imperfect work. Survive it. And let me tell you, when you go through the surviving phase, you might even learn about your own quirks that you weren't even aware of, or you might come across an unexplored part of yourself. Confidence doesn't come from thinking you wouldn't be judged. It comes from surviving that judgment. The version of you that is hiding behind lazy isn't weak. You are just protecting yourself from potential options that will definitely make you question yourself and your abilities. And this protection isn't vulnerability, it's embedded in your subconscious. You actually act on it without even realizing it. Give it a thought. If you think you are meant for more, you really don't have another choice. You can't hide behind lazy and turn invisible. Visibility is the price of growth, but when that price pays off, mark my words, you'll thank yourself later while looking back at yourself.